is projects important or not? And thanks to my PR girl who's ex-MDEC, she gave me like all like breaking news and news articles, and there was this very interesting news article.
By Karam.
Not by Karam. Actually, no, this is not by DNA as well. Unless you hired a guy called Dinesh Gatani. Dinesh Gatani.
I did.
Okay. And what it said was the government needs to exit the software ecosystem.
It's like 2 years ago.
Huh?
The article written about 2 years ago.
Yes,
Was
yes.
it 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yes.
2 years ago.
Oh, okay. And again, I'm just quoting this article. So don't take me that this is what I'm saying. I'm just quoting the article. Right? And what the article said was, MAC Malaysia, the key strategy vehicle for the government's software ambition, was set up in 1996 with grand plans of replicating the success of Silicon Valley in Southeast Asia. In this period of time, we have seen 2 internet booms and countless widely successful Silicon Valley startups, from Hotmail, Google, YouTube, Groupon, Twitter, Facebook, Blogger, PayPal, they forgot Friendster, and so on. Right? And it goes to add that after 16 years, Malaysia finally has an EPP that gives free web-based email. Wasn't that Hotmail?
That's through Google last year.
That was the TiEQ's one.
TiEQ's one, yeah. It's an EPP, it's not a DTP, but this just linking to that, right? And it goes on. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff here, but what it says is capitalism simply does not favor big governments. The best the government could do to boost the software economy is to get out of it, right? Observations, analysis of Silicon Valley indicate success indicate that the free market works pretty damn well. We would never have seen the likes of One Malaysia email in a free market environment. Capitalism rewards ingenuity and hard work and punishes the lazy and the underperforming. Just let the ecosystem be. Let them compete on their own merits, as they may, and find their way. Let them make their mistakes and learn from it. Trust me, with the pressure of having to succeed, they will learn fast. Right? What does that mean? What we need in Digital Malaysia is policy changes. What we do not need is the government coming in, right, and putting in restrictions, right, to actually deter entrepreneurs, right? And just to add this, you know, when I was, and why I make this statement is I still remember when I was asked to attend the Digital Malaysia lab, there was a senior person from MDEC that actually said, you better come for this 5-week lab. Because if you don't come, your competitor is going to come and be a big competitor to you. That to me was really insulting. Right? Because you can't just come and say, you must come to my lab, otherwise I'm going to create a competitor. That's not letting free capitalism work. That's basically the government getting in the way. So I hope Digital Malaysia doesn't become that. Thank you.
I think when they officially announced and the slew of projects, right? Because Syam said Digital Malaysia will have its own EPPs also. It will be a lot of it's project based. So how do you counter that, Syam, to say that it's not government getting in the way? I mean, you created the environment and ostensibly for entrepreneurs to come, and discuss issues and look at opportunities and then hash out an opportunity for yourself, I guess, that you can deliver. And then of course then it goes up, it's escalated up. I remember at the end of the labs they said that whether it was 200 projects, it will go up and it will be approved by, whether it's by MDEC or final approval comes from cabinet. And I assume that it's because to see which are the projects that are feasible can be done. So obviously when the final approval comes from cabinet, you obviously have the heavy hand of government already. But it didn't create the projects, right? The projects came up from the labs. So there's a mixture of private sector driven and then government giving the final okay. And government enabling it. So
5-week labs which were attended by salesmen and consultants.
Yeah. And
Actually, before Syam answers that, can I jump in here?
yeah, sure.
Ganesh, I was actually at 3 of those 5 weeks, and then Karam was there as well, and so were you. But you weren't there for all 5 weeks, it's true. And you're right, number one, not all entrepreneurs can afford to be there for so long. However, having said that, and because perhaps I am the biggest salesman for my own business, I was there for 3 or 4 weeks. I think to be fair to the money, number one, they've always said, whether it was the Digital Malaysia Act or any of the other acts, it's 90-10 private sector. Sure, driven, okay. Number two, having said that, Karam's right in that, yes, then the projects all get put into a basket, they get vetted, they get whittled down and maybe from 200 to 20 out of the lab, and then that goes up to the EC, the Council for verification and for approval. At that point, however, you're right, the heavy hand of government could be imposed. I don't think, however, that's the intention. Having said that, I think there are influences on which projects get approved, and rightly or wrongly, and whatever that source of pressure comes from. Yes, and of course, people are hoping that as a result of being endorsed in EPP, that project will get, fast-tracked or get support, or whatever. Having said that, it is still mostly private sector driven. And so unless a private sector and an entrepreneur or a business actually believes in an EPP, it's not in front. That's the moment. Number two, if I could, rather than answer that question, because actually you answered that question already, Karam, asking Sham what he thought. I'd like to maybe take it one step further and say, okay, because what Ganesh says is absolutely true. MDEC as facilitator or mediator, or the secretariat for Digital Malaysia, has a role to play perhaps in ensuring that these EPPs are successful. And it can only do that if it can influence policy, enabling policy. The question is MDEC in a position, number one, to influence policy? Because I feel it's lost its teeth somewhat over the past. Number two, is in the question of, is MDEC relevant therefore? Is MDEC actually moving into phase 2 or phase 3 of the MSC project? Because many of the things that I still see happening in MDEC are still rooted in phase 1 policies, when in fact we've already gone into phase 2 and 3. So, these two issues I think are related. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, because you have to be more descriptive about it. But I stick to Digital Malaysia. I think, so it's a good dialogue to have a better understanding. What Dinesh and Karam and Seong was mentioning is that we had a desire, and that was to accelerate the usage of digital technology. We wanted to, but we didn't want to say this is our program. So 500 people from, what is it, almost 100 organizations attended. You were there for 3 weeks, and you were there for 2 weeks,
3 days,
and so on and so forth. But that lab was not just to look at projects. It was to look at an enabling environment that was, yes, solution driven, so that we can box it up. So out of that lab, we came out and says, yeah, thank you very much. In fact, we came out with 200 ideas. We narrowed it down to 26 specific opportunities, and let's see how we can actually make it ready. But that was another side output from that lab, and that was something that's still not described, because this is just the programs, the EPP portion of it. We also asked and looked at, thank you for your input, the enablers, and what we call the drivers, to help smoothen the path for the programs or the projects moving forward. So when we say policies, etc., those are things that we had to gather as well, because it was to sustain the projects. Of course, there had to be some structural changes as well, but we need to know in which buckets. And don't forget, the 500 people included government and NGOs as well, because they would also input those kinds of data that we require for the other two stuff that we don't talk about too much. So besides projects, just like the Classroom program, they also announced strategic reform initiatives. Remember those things? Or you don't know? So similar to that concept, we also did those strategic reform initiatives in enablers and drivers. And yes, policy intervention was also looked at. But we couldn't wait for only policy to drive certain things. They had short-term opportunities that we also wanted. And Seong is right. By and large, the process is simple. It's still the same. It is not exclusive. The concept is not exclusive to you who actually broached the idea. Okay. Yes, you may have put the in, you probably would have pushed it together with us. It's not exclusive. It is private sector driven as well, which includes investments. Yeah? And that's the criteria for whether it is a EPP with you or not. How much of your skin would you put in the game? Yeah? So those are the other two criteria that we also looked at. So as we announce projects, it is not your project. Yeah? It is an initiative to actually put e-payment systems for SMEs. Yeah? I think you referred to the SME Corp's announcement, right? And she did not say it is a company's project. Yeah? And you know, I think she also said, this is the CEO of SME Corp, that you know we are encouraging a lot of TPAs to come up as well, right? And actually work with them to actually achieve that outcome. So again, those are the same objectives that we apply to other EPPs projects in Digital. Believe me, Digital Malaysia is not about projects and definitely not about government tender. Yeah? By and large, it is not. Yeah? If you want government tenders per se, that is still in the government procurement side. Yeah? We have to make sure that the skin is also in the game. Yeah? And that's the differential. Now, I pause a little bit because in Digital Malaysia, we also have an outcome for the bottom 40, the social good portion of it. Yeah? And there could be a lot of things that we could do, but again, it's not coming from us. It's coming from the social technopreneurs and NGOs that said these are things that are lacking for the bottom 40 that technology could help. Yeah? Assess against the input from other government agencies who know what they're talking about. Sounds right. We've never heard the solution. It could be good, right? And by the way, I already have funds for it. Yeah? So you could say that's government projects, but it's specifically for social good. So you may see, yes, more government funding on those than private sector, most definitely. But by and large, all the economic other activities is private sector driven and funded, and not exclusive. So I think I haven't talked about the policy. I agree to some degree. Enabling policy will assist. The other part about enabling policy is we also have to hear from the private sector. Okay? And this process of labs, the 5 weeks, was the first kickstart of Digital Malaysia. So we made sure that we looked at almost the whole landscape, not just projects but enablers and drivers. Going forward, as we look at specific opportunities, the ideation process, you're absolutely right. That's the 3-day or 2-day process that we are kickstarting so that we can get actual ideation, short-term basis, so that we can put intervention or interjection into our plans.
I think when you talk about taxes, very interesting because I had actually asked for Inderjit Singh. How many of you know him? He's not my relative, but he's one of the top tax consultants in the country. And I actually asked him to write a commentary piece for DNA about e-commerce. And then he said this is not the right time. He said the our IRB is right now in the process of drafting regulations, relating to e-commerce. So to me it's a bit scary because I think they want to tax e-commerce. Whereas you are saying, I get the sense that don't touch that space.
No, actually this tax on e-commerce, there are 2 or 3 areas on it. One is sometimes you can buy an e-commerce good from overseas, and that is taxed, not taxed. But you buy an e-commerce goods locally, it's taxed. So one of the things is you either make it general, you either tax it for all or don't tax it. What the US has said, no tax for all. So it's actually, if GST is implemented, for example, and you don't implement tax, that's good. And anyway, that's a separate e-commerce issue. I think I just want to, it was quite refreshing that we heard from Datuk Sham earlier that it's not the projects or the EPPs that are actually created in the labs are not just for the companies that were there or the so-called private sector guys who initiated it. Because I think that's something that all us technopreneurs or entrepreneurs should know. Because the perception that we get sometimes, and agreed most of the time, is from the private sector participant that is there. It says, I got a project. So at least we know that whatever projects that are out there, and so far I think I've seen from the website about 9 projects, it's open to everybody. So that's an opportunity for all our technopreneurs, all the technopreneurs here to participate in. So it's not just for those that attended the lab. And I think what I would like to see at the end, because on the website was just basically 2 sentences on the project, And the 2020 targets is actually how the private sector, how the technopreneurs can actually participate in more details on the project.
I think that's true. I mean, when I met Hafsa, and I actually met her about SMEs using technology and innovation, but then she brought up these micropayments, e-enabling micropayments. And very interesting, then I didn't ask her this question then, but then I followed up with her and I just got the answer yesterday, which was, us journalists being cynical, we thought one company got a project to provide the hardware and everybody has to use a specific software. And then her officer came back and said, no, I think the hardware may be one company because we've got scale, right? If you buy from one vendor, you obviously get scale. And we've got a vendor here, also Andy Koo, who's the CEO of NetApps. So he can tell you all about volume buying and scale. But so maybe one company is providing the micro reader, but the rest of it is that she said it's open to everyone. Anyone who's a TPA is a third party acquirer. So they got Bank Negara approval to go out and acquire merchants, and I think even MOL has got a TPA approval, right? So MOL also can actually participate in this EPP. Basically, you just go out and acquire merchants and micro enterprises. They want your nasi lemak vendor, your guy who's selling chapati, right? For them to use this system, and you just plug in the small reader into the bottom of your phone or your tablet, and you download the software. And the software comes from the respective TPA. They all have their own software, so it's not one party software you got use. And anybody can do it. You just go and sell that solution, and then you go to them and show them your receipt. And if you are within the first 40,000, the first 40,000 get the subsidy. It's actually not a subsidy. SME Corp is buying 10,000 of these micro readers, and the rationale is for every 10,000 we buy, the private sector, for every one we buy, the private sector can claim 3. You mean you must sell 3 to the consumer, right? And then you get this one free, which means that your cost is actually, you divide your cost among 4. You're getting one device free, you're selling 3 out there, right? So you pass on the cost of this one device you're getting from the government for free to the end customer. So the customer may get it for 10 or 20 or 20% less. So which was good. Then I said, oh, I was disappointed because I said, well, no exclusive story there.
I think that's the kind of transparency we need from all the projects.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good because before that I knew about the project but we didn't know the details. So actually after that SME Corp thing actually was pretty good because then we know, okay, it's transparent, it's not for the people who go in the labs, etc. So that was a pretty well...
so that's a good sign lah. So I think we'll all be looking carefully at all the rest of the EPPs to see that, the opportunity is there equally.
Yeah.
Because, so it's good. But getting back to Seong, who was asking, I think when Seong said his concern was that a lot of phase 1 projects are still being done in phase 3. I mean, this knowledge development center is perfect because it's capacity building phase 1, but now you get a grand launch and an official opening, right? So we're already in phase 3 commercialization, looking for global companies, global winners. But here you just had last week announcement of a project like that. So that may give people the impression that some phase 1 projects are still being given a big prominence. They may still be carrying on, right? I think the profiling or the PR activity around them should be subsidized, right? And they're just SOP, standard operating only. Not a glamour thing with the minister coming and opening up.
Well, to be fair to the audience, you have to be specific, otherwise we generalize. Yeah? But since he's no longer here, so we can't ask him. We can't ask him. But I imagine, in my mind, as I said, what MSC did in phase 1, for example, in setting up its own incubator. Before there was enough incubators in the country. We own an incubator. And that has been not only, we didn't close it down. We said it's time to move on. Right? And we actually put it out and solicited for ideas from the community, people who actually run it. And we didn't want a real estate guy to run it either. So we asked that it be run from a mentoring perspective, all those other elements that come into play that's required today. And actually kind of, what do you do, sublease it back to the new guy, right? So that he runs it. So that's something we've exited from that. I mentioned pre-seed. We had to do it because the industry was saying to us that's what's required. And so we did, and now there's another ecosystem that's doing it, from a focus perspective that's good for industry, so we exited that portion as well. So along the way we exited a lot of other stuff that we used to do. Now, skills training, we've also evolved. Yeah? You know, my board keeps saying, well, maybe we shouldn't be a training center. We don't do actual training. But the industry is saying, you know what, Datuk, if you don't do it for the skills that you are bringing in, the jobs that you're bringing in, it'll be very difficult. Yeah? So it doesn't mean that we are not sitting in committees and policy settings to actually look at the curriculum, the IHL, the university program. That takes time. We are there. Yeah? We are the designated ICT industry rep, if you will, in those policy platforms. Yeah? But that will take time. But to stop us from actually doing what is required by the industry still, you tell me now, I can shut it down tomorrow. You know? Will it hurt you in terms of availability of skill? I say yes. Yeah? I say yes because I know what kind of demand you guys want. You know? Tadi kata idea 3,000, alamak, no wonder tak ada talent. Kalau kita tak buat apa you nak, lagi you tak ada. You know? So I think we have to balance those statements when we say we used to do, you know, what you used to do, you still continue. Yeah? And yes, we are trying to also look at higher value activities, but wean off those other stuff. Perhaps it's, you know, this is a defensive posture. I like to turn it slightly separate. You guys say we should do what is good for the industry. Actually, we want to hear from the industry. And I keep saying this to other industry associations. The industry association has to be more proactive, yeah, in articulating the specific issues and needs of its members, and also understand our process and how we can actually move forward. During one of these dialogues, not you guys, yeah, another dialogue, one of these students said, listen, we're required to hire foreign talents who are already studying in local universities, because why should we send them back and then we hire them again? You not hire the foreign students who are here. Why? I say, why? Oh, tak cukup lah. Even your local guys pun tak cukup, and these are good guys. Why should we allow them to go back? Okay. So intervening with a policy, if you will, they said, great, we got the government to agree to give us at least 1,000 headcounts of these students who are studying today, the ability to work. They don't have to go back. So sekarang the foreign students, dia kena balik tau. You know? Before you can hire. And you want to hire, you have to wait. He has to be 2 years working experience before you can bring him in as a foreigner. And this comes from the creative industry side. You know? They say, so we said, okay, that's available to the creative industry because of that input from that dialogue from the trade association, which is good. So we want you guys to be more forthcoming as well. Otherwise, you know, we can complain all we want like this morning that we heard. But I think what needs to come together is, you know, trade association, you guys are no longer 1996. You know, people like Ganesh and you guys are more experienced in what it takes. And, you know, we look forward to actually having more proactive elements of what needs to be looked at, so that we can actually intervene.
Can I just add to that? Just to clarify, MSc Malaysia and Digital Malaysia are two separate things. Are they similar? Because from the way I see it, MSc Malaysia is more industry focused, Digital Malaysia is more rakyat focused, consumer focused.
No, it's more economy focused. It's more Malaysia economy focused. What's the commonality? And then,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Because it is digital, it requires MSc IT company solution, right, to actually engage it. So that's the commonality. We want both, and you know, the guy who's doing it is in there.
So I would say that, am I right to say that the industry programs in MSc Malaysia will continue?
Yes.
But Digital Malaysia will be more consumer facing, etc. The commonality is MDEC owns it. But whatever success in Digital Malaysia will actually help MSc Malaysia.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the companies in MSc Malaysia will basically provide that.
Get business from that.
If anything, it's the other way, right? Yeah. We want to make sure that actually the MSc companies actually benefit from the work that is being driven in Digital Malaysia. Yeah. Because it is not only narrow, right? We're trying to expand it, because Digital Malaysia is the digital economy. So our view is actually all of Malaysia. Yeah. So even whatever we have done in the lab is still not enough. We know that, but it's enough for us to get it rolling. Yeah. So we'll do the 2-day, you know, ideation so that we can get programs and policies done. But believe me, there will be another one where we say there are other big issues that require maybe policy makers. And maybe trade associations will come in and actually help us look at it from a 3 weeks perspective, 2 weeks perspective. Because we haven't even started tackling the enablers and the drivers in depth yet.
Any questions from the audience? I know Aswan had a question, I kind of cut him off.
No, actually, it's going to dive back to something Siong said.
Oh.
How strong are you in that, as MDEC lost its team, are you able to influence policy? Would it help if you were taken out of OSCE and made into an independent unit?
My experience is, it has worked no matter what the structure is. And the reason is because, we still have to do the implementation council meeting with the Prime Minister, which includes selected cabinet ministers. And that's where decisions and policies are decided on the best interest of the multi-municipal corridor, as well as the digital economy programs. So, you put me here, you put me there, you put me here. As long as the government commits to that platform of engagement at the highest level, the CEO of MDEC doesn't really care. It doesn't matter.
I think one of the things, I don't totally agree in that, because I think for Digital Malaysia to be successful, there's so many agencies involved. And if you look at IT alone, you have MCMC, you have MDEC, you have Mampu, right? Whereas if you look in Singapore, for example, we only have one agency.
That's a different question from what you asked.
Yeah.
That's something you can influence with policy.
That's right. I think for policy,
all this related ministries into one.
yes, I think an ICT
Listen,
ministry.
I can use my energy and my organizing energy to actually look at structural issues which is not under my purview. Right? You have bosses above you, or I can actually look at what is needed and needs to be done for moving this industry forward. I choose to focus my energy here because truly I'm not the politician. You guys set up organizations. Somebody above you will make that call, right? You can argue with that guy. You can, but I choose to use my energy now to say let's move forward, whatever the structure is. If you want to wait for the perfect structure, you will not move. But to get the right structure, you need 110% of my time, which means you won't see me, I don't care about you. Which is better? I came from the industry, and I think the industry is more important than structure, whatever it is. And leave it to the gods lah. You guys, I know associations write to ministries and all that, and let them decide.
Any other question from the rest of the audience?
I think I just want to add to that. I think that if you look at the question here, is MDEC still relevant? And in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, Asohan, maybe the people on the floor, for Digital Malaysia to succeed, MDEC needs to have teeth, must be able to influence policy, right? And needs to be under, and all these have to be under one ministry. There needs to be a Digital Malaysia ministry if Digital Malaysia is to be successful.
Interesting.
It was a comment, not a question.
He's allowed to comment to you.
It's a comment or it's not personal.
It's a comment.
One question. How do the smaller companies, which are the majority, the few thousands of all these technicals out there, get involved in Digital Malaysia rather than being at the receiving end and say, oh, here's the piece of mind. If you fall in that technology space, then you can come on board. But if they're not, then too bad. So how do they able to get involved and participate or whatever?
Go into a 5-week lab.
Most unlikely.
It's a fair question. Yeah. Number one, these are not the only projects that are on the table. These are the first wave of the projects that has been scrutinized and approved and launched. Again, it's not exclusive. Yes, when it's launched, you will see a partner or vendor, but we are encouraging other players to come on board as well. So some projects will have 2 partners, some will have 1, some will have 3. Yeah? And this is just the first wave. During that lab, 26, I can't remember the number, 26. Yeah? 26 projects, opportunities were looked at. We only launched 8. Yeah, thank you. 8.
Are those labs or are those available on the internet or soft, like videos?
2 lines are available.
Only. You should probably make it available, like
Sure.
the whole proceeding, and tap it into different files.
But, agreed. But this allow me to also, for transparency and governance, the way it works is Digital Malaysia is not a MDEC project. Okay? By and large, our role is to accelerate that usage, and it will fall in somebody's domain. Yeah? Our job is to, yes, you say it's good, we can calculate the GNI. By the way, our job is to keep pushing that agenda lah. And it falls in this instance, enabling e-payment under the preview of SME Corp. So again, that's our role. Our role is to facilitate, to ensure that SME Corp actually agrees to undertake lead this project. Maybe all did the heavy lifting, tak apalah. But they won't. Why do we require this lead agency to own it? Because for continuity. Yeah? If MDEC takes all the projects, and assuming that over the life of Digital Malaysia there is 100 projects, yeah? Number 1. Number 2, it is not the proper way to actually roll out and execute, because otherwise you will still may face resistance from whatever the central agency. Yeah? So that syndication, as they call it, is key, yeah? Because they have to say it is for the betterment of what I'm responsible for. They were responsible for SME. So we had another project here called e-fulfillment, and we asked NITI, MIDA, but NITI or MIDA to actually lead that, champion that component as well, because it involves logistics. So they are the ones who actually need to assist. So just like Commando's project, our role is to syndicate and see where the roadblocks are, because it requires facilitation. Some of these are, as you rightly point out, is to help with, please there's so many red tape. I would invest 100%, but please remove this red tape. Am I asking for any land? No. This is, he has to pay for it. Is he asking for any grants for building the stuff? No. He just wants to remove that red tape in front of him. And guess who is the guy who can assist in moving the red tape? It's not that. I cannot, but difficult. It is NITI, because licensing and those things are under them. So those are things that we do to make sure that there is ownership and continuity and pushback. So that's one portion. It is not the only projects. So besides what has been announced, which requires their announcement, that's the other part. We could announce it, but we prefer the lead agency to announce it. And so that you can say, I can play in EAs and all these things. The next waves of ideation is the same thing. This is the 2-day or 1-day thing that Ganesh is talking about. When we have more or less pushed the wave 1, we are starting to look at ideation for wave 2, based on the 26 that was done and plus. The 26 also sometimes we haven't scrutinized all of it, and we are asking entrepreneurs and those things to also come and participate. And it won't be a 5-week, because we don't need to see this whole picture. They'll come and say, we want input only on this piece, right? And entrepreneurs who are interested come in for this project, because we already define this. You just provide the details. And there are minus 8 lah. There are 18 more. And of course, along the way, there are new programs and projects that is being thought of. And similar concept will happen, because we're going to talk for meetings that are very narrow. So those things you can look forward to, I guess, when we announce it towards the end of the year. What they are. But right now, our focus area is making sure wave 1 gets off the ground.
Any questions from audience? I want to end this in about 6 minutes, so it's 7:30. Because we want to get people to be able to have some food. I'm hungry myself, actually. Go, okay, Dr. Siva.
I just want to try and tie a few things that Datuk has mentioned, Ganesh has mentioned.
Hey, summary is my job, lah. Bro, relax, lah.
Tie something together, and perhaps ask a question at the same time.
Okay.
Because initially, Datuk Sham mentioned that that BC said there are not many good companies in Malaysia, so VCs don't find anything to invest in. I disagree with that, and it's been proven because there are Singaporean VCs who have come here in 18 months, invested in 6-7 companies. So I think there's something wrong with the VCs more than anything else. But they do say there are not enough companies in Malaysia. But if you look at the technology space, not just MTech, right? But you look at biotech, Corp, and all of that, there's at least about 2,000, 3,000 technology companies, but very few success stories. And then we talked about post structure in the country and so on. If you look at what's happening in the country, structure-wise, actually it is true, very poor. What Ganesh mentioned about competition and so on. We are such a monopolistic economy in Malaysia. Yeah? If you look at, for example, the GLCs, they control so many parts of the economy that all the small companies that Lee Ching talked about really can't get into business because GLCs control a large part of this. They have the money, they have the government behind them, and they can get almost anything done. And then if you look at it, the government itself provides all these big concessions, 15-year concessions and so on, to one or two parties in certain areas, and nobody else can get into it. And a lot of times the concessions actually don't work as well, because they're not done by the right people. So we become such a monopolistic society in that sense. But once a concession comes in, they have a literal monopoly for 15 years. And there's just some parties who get out of this. Now because of the way it's been structured, a lot of the SMEs really find it difficult to get into business. That's why in America they say the business of government is to stay out of business. You don't own GLCs, you don't provide concessions, nothing is open to the private sector to go and do whatever needs to be done. So if you look at it that way, the thing that is really holding back all our SMEs and all these technology companies is the way this whole system is structured. Now, what can MDEC or anyone for that matter do to really dismantle this system, or at least reduce the power of this system? Because if you don't do that, you can spend all the money in the world, you can have all the policies in the world, you can have all that 5 weeks with Pemandu and all of that. And I can tell you, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, we'll still be in the same position because the same old GSEs are going to control the economy, the same old guys will get the same old concessions, and everybody else here is not going to get anything. And we know how the system works because it is really one of the worst kept secrets that, if a concession is given to someone, he gives it to somebody else to do all the work, and that guy gets 30% of the money, and he can barely make a profit of that. So when you can't make a profit, you can't grow your business. You can't grow your business, VCs don't invest. VCs don't invest, the companies die. So that's a long statement to make, but the thing is there anything anyone can do to look at the structure and tell the government this is the wrong way to do it? Because if you don't allow competition to flourish, you will not get innovation. Monopolies destroy innovation. Competition makes innovation flourish. So the way the government and the economy structure is really, really bad in this country. And going forward, I think the companies are going to start. So, is there anything anyone can do?
That's what that's the hardest question I've heard asked ever. Very deep rooted.
I think for a start, there could be more transparency on these 8 projects. Not just 2 lines, right? I'm sure there's if there's 5 weeks that went back behind all of this, there should be more transparency, there should be more information so that more companies could participate, right? So maybe Digital Malaysia can be a start to transparency.
But Syam, for you, it's a really tough question.
No, I mean, you've raised the, this is national policy issues. And I'm not defending it, but you just can't generalize, by the way. Yeah? There's requirements for concession. I mean, you like it or not, I don't know. Let's take, nobody likes to hear this, but sometimes toll roads. And we're not into construction, right? So you're not talking about those things, right? Even if I dismantle that, you guys are not in construction. So, that's not the right generalization. Yeah?
But not so much in that sector, but in the IT sector.
Yeah, so again, I ask and push it back to the association. Please help me be specific. Where it is IT related that I can do something about. If you ask me to dismantle the toll road concession, it's not me. right? To be fair lah. So let's be specific. Now let's look at a specific item where we have intervened, yeah? And that is in GLC outsourcing. Yeah? And I'm talking about IT outsourcing. I'm talking about business process outsourcing. Anyone in the outsourcing industry? No. Okay. So, you know, we said, listen, to grow the domestic outsourcing business, there are Malaysian players. The GLCs have to play a part as well. So we hosted lunch with Digital for 30 of the GLCs, explaining what outsourcing is and why it may be good from their perspective. Those who want to insource will never outsource. Yeah? So those are not our target markets. But there are many GLCs, the government-linked companies, who say, yeah, if you can really provide value, it's something I want to consider. Because those are low value added. To them, they want to focus on their brick and mortar business. I'll tell you what programs are in place, and you know, is there incentive as well? And incentive could be non-fiscal as well. So those are interventions we have done, and that was only done just before Pasal, I remember. To look at how to move that down. And that has opened up that possibility and opportunity for domestic players to actually, that's what we call concession. The other part is actually working with the government. So listen, as you computerize more and more, once again, we'd like you to consider through intervention that some of your data centers may not have to be owned by the government itself. Right? It's an expenditure on the government. And listen, technology allows you to just, we all know this story, but they don't know, right? So government has also agreed, and through open tender as well, invited private sector, Malaysian-owned companies to bid for some of their, not all, some, most of it will still be government-owned, but at least the new ones, or those that are so-called non-critical, are now being given to the Malaysian-owned IT companies. Who is not here? Who's in IT? Oh, there you go. You know what I'm talking about, IT?
Adrian was here, so she is
still here?
So those intervention, my friend, yes, we do. Why? Because we had a specific objective, it was raised, and there was an economic benefit to both the country as well as the companies. We listen at the companies, and we say, by the way, open tender, we just want the opportunity. So again, I put it through the association. Help me. If you can be specific as well, we can intervene. I can't promise, but that's the platform for intervention.
Grab one more last question, and then we can, over food we can chit-chat. Okay, to the lady in black.
And last question. Someone brought up about Pemandu EPP project.
Alphabet soup.
Oh, I tell you, it's nothing like decorations when you go into the labs.
Google, Twitter, Square, the non-techie world gets no confusing.
Yeah, so we are part of the Pemandu EPP. I've never seen so many reports be done. Constantly weekly updates.
So when you say we, you're talking about
CSF.
Yeah, CSF is a Malaysian company, right? Listed in UK AIM market.
Yeah, so we did the whole work. Granted, we do not have any funding. It was all private funding, but we actually had help along the way. Like if we faced some agency issues, all I had to do actually, to be fair, I raised it up to Pemandu. And I told them, we better get this fixed, because I'm not doing it, and I'm just too tired to fight through. And they do it. So that is actually a plus point for me. But there is also the other side of it, which is when we gather, EPP started with the data center industry. So then you gather all 17 players, big and small. The largest being us. We have 500,000 square feet of data center. The smallest being 5,000 square feet of data center. Put us all in 5 days back. But what we want to see, and I think I'm speaking from the industry as well now, what we want to see is actually someone to help us when we go out and sell. We don't expect you guys to sell now because sometimes.
Close.
Yeah, or we will close it.
Close it.
We sometimes appreciate it and that helps us to open the door. More often than not, we go out ourselves regionally. Not our help. And when there is a local business that we can work on, I tell you, I really pity the customers. We get 17 vendors going there. No. You want data center? I also have 17 plus IPP the customers. So is there anything that MDAC can do?
Number one, with or without MDAC or Pemandu, 17 vendors will knock on that opportunity. That's free market, right? And that has to happen. And you know, as far as marketing access, you know, you are party to our marketing trips to Japan recently, right?
Last year.
Yeah. We were in London, right? So she's saying we are driving the EPP, and that is.
To be fair, yes, MDAC is driving it, but we also do not see enough customers coming over, big, local and overseas. We don't see enough of that. So that's why you have one tender, literally everyone, you just sit around on the table, you enter. It's not enough market growth in this sense.
And again, you know, we facilitate those things, and of course, you know, we need to listen to you guys in terms of, you know, this marketing Johns doesn't work in this way, and we need to adjust it so that we can attract the right leads into the funnel, yeah, etc. But the point is still, you know, we are the agency that is square and center to help you drive traffic through, you know. So she's saying we're doing work tapi tak cukup lah, we want more lah, you know.
So MDAC is relevant for that lah.
Because it's EPP.
Can I?
I think it became relevant because of the EPP initiative. If they don't do it, the money will just sit on them and they have to get it done. So it becomes to that point. But we want to see more, like, rather than just going through the motions at times. Yeah, that's probably the only thing that.
But you know, to be fair as well, I mean, the work is, you know, over what, 11, 12 months. Wow, intensively. Only in the last intensively over the last 12 months. And you know, to be fair as well, I think we should also inform them about, listen, that you means the groom that is in this EPP, and all 17, and they say, among the many things, please do marketing. Okay. Among the many things, can you help me with competency development? Because you know what, if I want to compete, I have to have the right people with the right certification. Fine. And that's also on the ground, and that's rolled out. Because that's what the industry is saying, right? And it's not just for you, it's for all the players. Yeah? What else did we say? Hey, listen, can you get us into the door of the GLCs? That's the lunch I was talking about. Yeah? To also tell the GLCs about these capabilities so that we can start cracking the door. Yeah? Is there a rush of leads coming through? My friend, you know, either we're fishing the wrong pond or it takes time. Right? Can we do it better? Yes, with your input. But are we responsible to generate 100 leads for you? There you go. Now please close the deal. I'm not sure the industry wants that either. Seriously, no, come on, you know. Then I act as that. Then you want me square and center selling, you just said, you know, small government better. So you see, I mean, I'm not blaming you guys. Yeah? I think you may rephrase it differently. So be careful what you ask for and say. At one stage, please step back, just do policy, lost more. Tak cukup lah, and that you should be doing more, and this, you know. I'm not saying it's incorrect. I think we have to phrase it properly. You know? And the phrasing has to come from groupings or trade association. Because just like the customer cannot hear 17 vendors knocking on the door, I cannot listen to how many people here? You know, 50 people saying different things. Not that I cannot lah, but you know, masuk keluar. I don't know which to focus on. Yeah? So to be fair as well, you know, we need you guys to help your trade associations. Yeah? So that you know, you guys say yes, these are the 2 things, 3 things that needs intervention. Okay? Not that the others are not important, but these are more important than the small things.
Can I just add to that? What I don't agree in, as Datuk Sham has said, and that cannot get you all your business. You have to do something, right? The whole nature of business is you have to work. You cannot depend on the government. The issue with our technopreneurs here in Malaysia is we're too dependent on government grants, government funding. You have to do something. All the government can do is open the doors for you. And you have to take the initiative to understand it, to go and fight for it, to go and do whatever you need to do it. So you can't, if MDAC does too much, then you get 70 people knocking on the door. Right? So it's chicken and egg, because MDAC has to do that for everybody. But policy helps everybody. The winner is the person who works the hardest. Right? So the government can give the opportunity, but you got to work hard anyway. Right? You cannot ask the government to work harder. You have to work harder. Right? If you look in the valley, right, the government doesn't get involved. There's zero government intervention. Right? In fact, the government charges more taxes to the successful companies, but don't help the successful companies.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so I think you have to work hard. And I think just to add to Siva's statement down there, I mentioned it before, but I think as an entrepreneur, and I think you guys as entrepreneurs as well, I think what would really help and what will help make Digital Malaysia more successful is really transparency into the detail. These 8 projects, what are there? How can we participate? You know, what are the details, right? Open it up, put it on the website, right? Right? With that, then nobody can complain because it's open to all. The details are open to all. People who want to participate, participate. People who don't want to participate, don't participate. Blame yourself. Right? The issue with Digital Malaysia right now, to me, is there is very little transparency into the detail. And that's what we as technopreneurs, I think, are asking for.
Information. You can donate DNA space for that. Yeah, all the information.
All information that you can create a small microsite. Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys. I just want to be respectful of time. We've run over. Thanks a lot for the question. I love Siam's question, you know, about challenging MDAC, about, you know, they're still, you know, rolling out phase 1 and phase 3. And Ganesh, not consistently declaring that there should be more transparency, at least in the first wave of 8 EPPs out there, is very good. And the rest, yes. And for, you know, government to just help with policy regulation is great. But it was so interesting, right? What I'm trying to think of your name. Yeah? Bridget. Oh yeah, Payjet. Sorry, Payjet. It's so interesting what Payjet mentioned, right? Because you have Ganesh and Siva saying, right? You just get out of the way and let entrepreneurs compete, right? Market forces. But then companies being companies, right? If they can get someone to do more for them, why not, right?
Not companies being companies, Malaysians being Malaysians.
Okay, no, I challenge you, companies being companies, not just Malaysian companies, right? It's typical, you want somebody to do more. I've heard entrepreneurs in the biotech space, one entrepreneur said, the best thing government can do is just to ease the regulation. He loves what Commando is doing, because they will help you ease the roadblocks, right? But you're getting someone else to do. Actually, it shouldn't be your work. Government should make it very easy, right, for people to get through and navigate regulations or policies, so they know the path to be taken. No need to use middlemen and all that. When you have ambiguity, you get all this nonsense. But then you have entrepreneurs also like Payjet and maybe CSF. They are literally asking MDAC, from what I hear, to do more for them. It's their job, already. I challenge Adrian, if you say, hey, maybe is it CSF has cut some marketing stuff, right? So you're trying to get MDAC to do that for you.
No.
I know, just
rephrasing of the...
Again, sorry?
Rephrasing of the question.
Okay.
I know what's going on.
You know what you're saying, okay. But they're basically asking you to do more of more, right? What you're already doing. So, and it sounds to me like market access also.
And also improve.
Oh yeah, improve for sure. That's never ending. That's never ending, yeah. But anyway, on that note, we just like to end. And we will try to get Vincent Tan here, if not next month, maybe the month before. I think it'll be a fascinating discussion. And we'll see how that goes, okay? But stay in touch and just keep reading DNA and you'll see lots of stuff there. Thanks a lot for Sham, for making the time with us. And Ganesh, thanks a lot.